Right, hi, my name is Dave Donnelly. This is, welcome to our second video of a set of 4 videos that we're going to be doing with you on financial planning. We just want to give you a little bit more of guidance and helping hand on how to better understand your finances and how to plan more successfully to achieve financial independence in your life. Okay, in the last video, we spoke sort of through your 4 sort of life stages, as it were, and we looked at the type of things that you can get involved in as far as your financial life is concerned. Debt, we need to look at risk cover, we need to look at saving, and we need to actually have some sort of focus on where you're going in your financial life before you can actually achieve your financial goals. So in this video, what I'd like to do is just to extend on that. I want to help you start looking at your planning. How do you go about looking at your planning? What are the sort of first steps that you want to address in heading towards your goals? What sort of things do you need to put in place? Because we see in the world, so many people don't plan enough and they don't save enough. I think that's fundamentally a problem around the world at the moment, and we've seen it in the last couple of years with all this financial problem we have in the world. People don't save enough. Some of them don't even save at all. Some of them see their lifestyle assets as part of their investable assets, which is not the right thing to do. Lifestyle assets are things that, like your home that you live in, you're going to need that for the rest of your life. It's not something that you can see as an investment. Okay, so that's vitally important. At the end of the day, we don't want to fear our financial situation. We don't want to have anxiety about it. So the best thing to do about that is to create a simple way of looking at our finances and to be able to be in control, have the knowledge about what we need to know to be able to plan financially and correctly for our futures. And that's really what we're wanting to show you in this little set of videos. You need to know where you are financially right now. You need to know where you want to be. What are your goals financially? You need to set those goals in place, because the difference between where you are now and where you want to be is your plan. It's the plan that you need to then put in place and implement to be able to ensure that you reach your goals. And the only way to be able to do that is to create a plan that is measurable. There must be some way of actually measuring where you're going so that you know where you are in this whole planning process. If you're achieving your goals, are you on your way to achieving your goals? So that's vitally important. And what's the easiest way to actually look at where you are now? I want to have a look at this little diagram I've just put up on the whiteboard here, which I think encapsulates your financial life in a simple way, and maybe hopefully will help to explain your life to yourself in a very simple way. Okay, in essence, we've got 3 parts to our financial life, don't we? We earn an income, we spend the money, and hopefully we save some of the money. But at the end of the day, if you look at your bank account, those are in essence the 3 parts to your cash flow, as it were. Money comes into your account, that's your income. Money goes out of your account because of your lifestyle costs, your living costs. And then hopefully some money either stays in your account and gets saved, or it goes into a specific savings pot. So we've got these 3 parts. We've got your income, we've got our cost of living, or our lifestyle cost, and we've got our savings pot. And through life, while we're still working, this cycle happens. Probably a large portion or a larger portion of your earnings goes to paying for your lifestyle costs, and hopefully a good percentage at the same time each month goes into your savings bucket. Okay, and this is what we need to be able to measure, because as you go through that life cycle that we spoke about in the previous video, we go through those sort of 4 sections, as it were. You need to be able to measure where you are so that you can keep your focus on your goal and make sure we can achieve that goal, so that we get to a situation where we at retirement and we know for certain that the size of this savings pot, when this part of when your income falls away when you retire, that this savings pot is sufficient to create an income that is going to look after your lifestyle at that point for the rest of your retirement life. That's vitally important, and that's in essence our life financially in a nutshell. So how do we go about making life easier? Let's go back to our 4 sections of our life, as it were, okay, that we spoke about in the last video. Firstly, we've got our first part of our life, our parents look after us. And I think as parents, what we need to do during this stage of our life for our kids is try and give them a little bit of an education and understanding of how money works. Because later on in their lives, they will then have that as a basis. They won't be scared, and they will have a good understanding of spending money, saving money. We can teach them these things through giving them pocket money, through showing them how we actually live our lives and how we plan in our lives. That practical sort of showing them is going to be very useful. Kids learn by watching you and what you do more than by what you say. So that's important. Use that opportunity while your kids are young to teach them those little things about life, what they need, what they want, and so forth, what they can save for, what they can achieve if they save, and so forth. It gives them a better longer-term focus for their lives from a financial perspective. Okay, then in the second part of our lives, we took from age 20 to around about age 35. This is a part of our lives where there's a lot of change happening. Okay, we go through all sorts of changes. We get married, we start our first job, we get probably our first car that we buy and pay for ourselves. The house we take a bond on. It's a huge debt that we create for ourselves. At this point, at the start of this point in our lives, we should really be taking the opportunity to educate ourselves financially. We spent, I don't know how many years up to prior to starting a career, educating ourselves about how to earn an income. Surely it's just as important to learn and have a good education about how to grow and maintain our investments as we go through life. This investment here, believe it or not, is going to be by far the biggest investment you ever make in your life. The thing that seems to make it less important is the fact that you create this investment over a very long period of time. 35, 40 years of your life you spend creating this investment, and hence it seems to lose its significance until you get later in life and it becomes everything, and it's the provider of your lifestyle for the rest of your life, and you suddenly realize how significant it actually is to you. So the best thing you can do when you start working, and the first day you start working, the first paycheck you get, is to make sure that you've got a good education about how to look after your pot of gold going through your life. So you need to, at that stage, then be able to put a plan in place for the rest of your life. I know your life's going to change a lot, and you may be 25, 30 and say to me, Dave, my life's got to change radically in the future, in the next 20, 30 years. How can I plan for that far into the future? You know what? Rather have some sort of roadmap in place and know more or less where you're going. Obviously, you're going to change and chop and change as life goes by. But all you do then, if you've got something in place and you've got that understanding initially, it's going to make life so much easier just to adjust those goals as you go through life. When you get married, when you have kids, the costs and so forth that come along with that. But if you've got that understanding of how your finances work, it's going to make life so much easier. And your opportunity of growing this capital from an early age, using that whole benefit of compounding, is going to make a fundamental difference in your life. Rather than getting towards the end of your working career and then finding you don't have enough. That's a tragic and horrible situation to be in. You don't want to be there. So there's two main areas of planning that you want to look at in this part of your life. The second part, 20 to 35 type area of your life when you first start working. The main areas are, firstly, you want to look at your risk, as we looked at in the previous video. What is your situation is going to be that you're probably spending a lot of money that you don't have. You're going to be paying off bonds, you're going to be paying off car leases and so forth over those first couple of years. And you need to make sure that you don't leave your your family in a situation where if something happened to you, all of a sudden they've got this massive amount of debt that they need to try and deal with, and you're not there to provide that income that was actually paying for that debt over a period of time. So you don't want to leave your family in that situation. Risk is not about you. Risk is about your family. It's not about how much money you're spending on covering yourself. It's about or the potential situation that you're guarding against should something happen to you. It's so vitally important. I know it seems to be a grudge purchase, but if you have a look at it this way, before you drive a brand new car off of the showroom floor, don't you make sure that it's insured so that in case you have an accident, you don't have to fund that new vehicle, that replacement vehicle out of your pocket? You want to rather make sure that if something happens to that vehicle, somebody else, that insurance company is going to pay you out a certain amount of money so that you can rather just pay for it and not have to be out of pocket and have a situation where you've got this huge debt doubled up. Okay, so it's exactly the same thing. I know it sounds a little bit callous because you're a human being, that's a car, but that's really how it works at the end of the day. It's for the benefit of your family, so it's vitally important. And obviously the second part is making sure that you start creating the savings pot. As much as it seems insignificant, as I said, when you're young, it's vitally important. It's a small portion of your overall capital or overall income that you're putting aside every single month. Just get used to it and create a commitment to it, and you'll find that it'll make it so much easier throughout your life. Okay, so that's the second part of your life, and I know it's a very much a changing part of your life, but it's so important to get all of those initial foundations in place as far as your financial planning is concerned. Okay, the third portion of your life, that 35 to 55, 60, sort of the second portion of your career, as it were, where you're probably reaching the pinnacle of your career. Your kids are starting to grow up now. They're maybe in high school, they're going to university, whatever the case may be. This is a part of your life where you should be focusing on reducing your debt as much as possible. Your focus on saving should be very high. You should be making sure that all of those sort of things are looked after. Your need for risk is going to start reducing towards the end of this period of your life. Because at retirement, you want to be in a situation where this savings pot is sufficient to look after you. You don't want to have the need for risk cover at a stage in your life where you should be financially independent. In other words, at retirement date. Okay, so those are the sort of main things you want to look at. You want to focus on accumulating this bucket of capital to make sure that you're going to achieve your goals, and then you want to make sure that you're getting your debt down, right down, way before the savings period is up. In other words, so 10, 15 years before you reach retirement, you want to make sure that your debt is out of the system, as it were, so that you don't have to worry about that. And your need for risk cover should be reducing radically at this point in time. Okay, so that's the third part of your life. If you find yourself in a situation where you haven't planned, I know it's predominantly a situation where people find themselves at 45, 50, and suddenly they become far more aware of the need for this savings pot in their lives, and is it now sufficient, and so forth. If you're one of those people who's in that situation, make sure that you find out where you currently stand. Do the planning. What is your situation now? Where do you want to be? At least if you can measure that, you can correct your situation if you need to. So that's vitally important. Don't ignore it. Rather address it head on. Face your situation and face the reality of where you are. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Rather than finding out where you get to a situation where suddenly you don't have an income anymore, you don't necessarily, or you may not have necessarily planned for creating or continue with creating an income after you retire, and suddenly you're in a terrible situation and it's a big shock. Okay, and then finally you get to retirement. Fantastic situation to be in. You've handed the banner over at work, or you've sold your business, or whatever the situation may be. You get time to spend more time with your spouse, with your grandchildren. You get to go overseas on holiday and so forth. It's a great part of your life. And basically what we do at this stage of your life, if you've been planning all the way through your life, you find it's not a big milestone as far as finances are concerned. Psychologically, and not having to work anymore, I know it is a big milestone and it's something to get used to. But if you've always thought about it and always planned correctly, you'll find that it becomes less of a hurdle or less of a big change in your life, because you've always thought about it and you've planned for it. So much better to do it that way. The big thing here is obviously we change now from a situation where you were saving each month to a situation where your income falls away, and now your savings pot becomes your income vehicle and creates an income to provide for your lifestyle cost for the rest of your life. It's as simple as that, actually. Sure, there's lots of different types of investments that we make along the way, and I'll elaborate on that in the course if you want to go ahead and later in our course. But in essence, it's a case of creating an income out of your savings for the rest of your life. And it's actually quite a simple thing, really. And then you can be in a situation you can really enjoy your life. You don't want to have any liabilities at this time of your life. All your debt and so forth must already have been dealt with. You want your wealth to be in place and to be able to cater for you for the rest of your life. So a fantastic fantastic position to be in if you plan correctly. So what are the sort of four main things that I've really been talking about through this last video? The four main steps that we've got to do then, if you remember what I was talking about. The first one is make sure that you get yourself educated about your finances. It's so important. You need to know what you're talking about so that you need to understand what you need to do in your life going forward so that you can plan correctly. You need to know where you are, you need to know where you want to be, and you need to plan. So the second point here is you need to plan. You need to get an education, and then you need to plan correctly. You need to take responsibility for your own financial affairs. You need to realize that a financial advisor, as good as they are, ultimately you're the person who's going to make the difference in your life by making those judgments along the way and those calls and taking responsibility for what to do next. So that's vitally important. Thirdly, you need to actually implement the plan. Once you've got a plan and you know where you're going, you have to implement your plan to make sure that you can achieve your goals, obviously. And then finally, you need to maintain that. Financial planning is an ongoing thing throughout your entire life. You're always going to have to plan and correct your plan, update your investments throughout your life. Not just during your accumulation stage, but even after your retirement as well. So that's vitally important. So those are the four things. You need to educate yourself about finances. You need to be able to put a plan in place. You need to implement your plan, and you need to actually maintain your plan. So those are the hugely important things that we need to keep in mind all the way through. So why did I start the set of videos? And it really comes from my interaction with my clients over the last 15 plus years. And I found that so many people I speak to just don't have the knowledge about their own finances and being able to plan financially for themselves into the future. And as a result, they haven't put plans in place and haven't achieved or not able to achieve financial independence in their retirement. And it's an uncomfortable situation to be in, and I wanted to see if I could try and make a difference. At the end of the day, it's your decision to take responsibility for your own financial affairs, and it's so important to be able to do that and look after yourself financially. So how do we actually make a difference here? The whole idea of this course and the whole idea of the education program, which I'm presenting to you, I'll present more to you later on in these videos, is to make things much more simple for you to understand. It's to provide a step-by-step process where you can learn and understand your financial situation so much better, and to be able to use a tried and tested system where you can follow through step by step, each step of the way, if I can put it that way, and know that it's going to give you certainty about your financial future going forward. just to make life so much easier for you. And what we've done as well is that we've set up a website where if you decide to invest with us, there's all sorts of information under the members zone, which we will update on a monthly basis. We send out a monthly news video, so nice and easy to watch and to learn from. We're trying to make it as simple and easy as possible. There's going to be information on our members zone updated every single month to give you as much information to help you plan and correctly guide your financial life going forward. So that's the whole idea here, so that you can put a plan in place, set yourself some goals, and really achieve those goals and do them at your pace. So nobody's harassing you, nobody's trying to sell you anything, just being able to do it in the way you want to achieve your goals. That's so important. I've just seen with my clients, when I sit with them and I go through exactly this process that I'm suggesting to you now, that the light bulb comes on and all of a sudden they've got direction for their future and they've suddenly got a nice idea of where they're planning to go. It clarifies anything and everything, and it gives them peace of mind. So that's what I want to do for you. Robin Sharma, one of the leading business coaches in the world, says you can either go out there and do your own research and spend years researching for yourself, or you can find a course that does exactly what you need to do. And I'm hoping that this course that I'm going to offer you is going to do exactly what you need for your life, for your finances, to make a big difference in your life, to give you clarity and focus and the ability to have peace about your finances going forward. So what I'm trying to do is I want to give you the fishing rod and teach you how to fish here. I want you to be able to catch your own fish. I don't want to give you the fish. I want you to be able to fish for yourself so that you can make a huge difference in your life going forward. I honestly believe that this course can do that for you. So in the next video then, we look in more detail into the planning process for you and what you need to actually do, and we've attached a file so that you can actually download a budgeting sheet so that you can put all your income into it, all your monthly expenses and so forth. You can put all your savings, all your investment assets into that, and it'll just help you start structuring your portfolio. We want you to start actioning what we've been discussing here so that we can start looking at putting a plan in place. And then from there we want to start obviously implementing that plan. We need you to get an idea of what type of steps we need to go through to actually put your plan in place so that you start taking action and you start actually moving towards your goal. So we look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you found this video useful and interesting, please touch or click the share button and share this with your friends and family. You never know who may need the help financially, so please help us share this information with everybody and we can help as many people as possible. The more you can help us, the more we can help you. So we really appreciate that and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. All the very best.